Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is part 3 in a shimming series for Armstrong foils equipment. If you haven't seen videos 1 and 2, check out the links below as they are a great foundation for today's video. Just a quick recap. In part 1 we looked at foil basics, how a foil works and how shimming can change that foil setup. In part 2 we looked at best fit stance for your board as a control surface for foiling and how mast placement can interact with the shimming that you've done. In today's video we're going to discuss board shimming. Armstrong foils make a 1 and a 2 degree shim plate. They are wedged just like the polycarbonate shims that are used with foiling, but are placed between the masthead and the board, altering the angle of the mast and the board, certainly creating a lot of confusion about what is actually being angled. So hopefully today's video will clear some of that up for you with some working examples rather than a theoretical discussion. Today in the foiling industry there are many boards to choose from, and these different designs can go beyond the intentions of the actual foil designer. In-house with Armstrong, all the products are designed and interact with each other, and you can assemble and use right out of the box without any shimming at all. But when we change our boards, then we are changing parameters where a different board designer and a different foil designer may have different design concepts that are going to interact differently with your foil. Now we know adding a 1 degree shim can change an entire foil setup, so a change in board rocker design by 1 or 2 or 3 degrees is obviously going to change your foil setup, and that's where board shims come in. Now adding shims changes the angle of the board, which has 2 surfaces that are interacting with our hydrofoiling. There's the deck, which is our control surface for the foil while we are flying, and then there's the bottom shape of the board that interacts with the surface of the water before the foil is innervated. Adding a shim with the thicker end towards the nose lifts the nose, increasing front foot pressure. When the board is on the surface of the water, this is a decrease in the angle of attack for the foil. When we switch it around and have the thicker end towards the tail, we are increasing the back foot pressure for the control surface, and when the board is on the surface of the water, we are increasing the angle of attack for the foil. So let's look at examples of each. Recently Armstrong Foils released their surf line of foil boards. My first impressions, I could see the deck was much flatter than the FG boards I was previously riding. I did notice that there was an increased angle of attack while paddling the board. This made for much easier takeoffs, and I was able to get in earlier on the wave, which was a great advantage to catching waves. While I was riding, I could feel there was definitely more back foot pressure in comparison to the FG boards, which made for better pivoting of that surf style. What I did notice was on sessions where I'm concentrating on multiple waves, I needed a longer front foot stroke, which required more energy and a different technique. So this is where I used the shim, placing the thicker end towards the nose. Lifting by 1 degree, I was able to create a similar feel to the previous FG boards, and I could employ the shim just where the focus was on multiple wave sessions where the wave quality is not as good, but I was looking to extend the number of waves I was riding. Another example was with downwind foiling. We all know that with the difficulty is the restarts and getting started in small bumps or even in flat water. When the board's on the surface of the water and we want to increase the angle of attack of the foil so it can get started quicker, we can put the shim with the thicker end towards the tail. Of course, the surface of the board remains constant, relatively, according to water quality, but the angle of attack of the foil is increased. So getting started requires less energy and a little bit easier. However, I did find that over a long journey of the downwinding, that the increased back foot pressure was fatiguing. So over time, as I developed my technique for starts and learnt about the distribution of volume in the board, I no longer needed the shim, and it was better off for my entire downwind experience not using it. So you can see shims can be employed to create a familiar feel or to create a desired feel depending on what you want to do. So I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, go ahead and fire them below. Only too happy to answer them for you. And if you can help me by liking and subscribing the videos on my channel, it'd be a great help to what I'm trying to achieve for you guys. So thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you next time and have fun out there.